Congressional Budget Office, they released figures that Democrats are happy about, and they feel that they will get the support necessary to pass the reform. Basically, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that health care will save the United States $138 billion over the next 10 years and cover 38 million uninsured Americans.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, as you might expect, I have a few thoughts about that. And here's really what I want to say to people who are listening out there. I know there are a lot of people out there who are still on the fence about this bill, and I completely understand, especially if you have objected to it over the past year for the reasons I have. I fought hard for the public option. I fought hard for a better version of these individual mandates, one that's fairer. In many ways, I think this bill taxes the middle class directly and indirectly through the individual mandate and does so more than it does the wealthy. There are things I object to. There are things I want to improve. There are things that even leave me, like you may be, angry and frustrated and disappointed. I understand all of that. But at the end of the day, here's what I want to say to you. Now is the time to pass this bill. I didn't know if I would ever come to that point. The last time I was on the Young Turks, I told Cenk that I was probably 65% leaning against it. In the meantime, I've gotten very little of what I was holding out for, but I did get some. Not that it was given to me personally, but there were some improvements made. The excise tax is not as, on the middle class, is not as onerous as it used to be, and some other things have been improved by it by combining the House and Senate bills. So here's the bottom line for me. There are people out there who don't have health insurance today that need it and can't afford it. This bill will get it for them. There are people who are being kicked out of health insurance plans every day because they got sick and they need the plan that they've been paying for years. There are all sorts of other abuses. There are people who need coverage that can't get it and that go from place to place, some of them with terrible diseases. This bill will fix that. Am I upset? Yes. Am I disappointed? Yes. Do I strongly support passing this bill at this point? Yes. Now, I do have a word to some of the progressives who I think supported that bill too soon, and particularly the Senate bill. There was a group of people out there who became cheerleaders because it was their heroes passing this bill, I guess, who jumped on board the Senate version way too early and tried to give us all sorts of reasons why we shouldn't object and why we shouldn't threaten not to pass this bill. But threatening not to pass something is the way you get things improved. I congratulate Bernie Sanders, who held out until he got $12 billion for primary health care centers put into the Senate bill. He threatened to hold out. I congratulate the bloggers who threatened to hold out. I congratulate Dennis Kucinich for putting, all of these people put pressure on the White House to make this as progressive a bill as it could possibly be. Our job as progressives and activists is not to make life easier for anybody, including people we admire, including the President of the United States. Our job is to get the best bill we can. I think at this point, this is the best bill we can get. So as we did with the Medicare bill, as we did with the Civil Rights bill, let's pass it, and then let's make it better. So that's my commentary on this. For the conservative Democrats who don't like this bill, but it saves money. So no conservative Democrat can object to it on budgetary grounds. And to those, I will also close by saying, and we'll talk more about this with Anna in a few minutes, but those who genuinely have a principled opposition to abortion, and I believe there are such people out there, even though I disagree with them, you also have no reason to object to this bill. We'll go over this in more detail, but what you've been told about how this bill increases federal funding for abortions is untrue, and we'll talk about this later. So if you want people to be helped, I think you need to get over whatever misgivings you have about this bill and make sure, in whatever way you can, by calling your congressman or any other way, make sure that this bill gets passed. And that's what I have to say.